Okay, it is August 25th. I say this every month, but it's really hard for me to believe it's the end of the month. I don't know, the months just fly by.
Hmm.
But here we are, the last week of August. So, okay, I'm going to say a really quick prayer and then we'll get going. Lord, I just thank you for these ladies that could be on this evening. And Lord, we just do lift up Dawn and Jody, who are in the midst of traveling right now. And I just pray that our meeting will be beneficial to everyone tonight and just give me the right words to speak. And we do pray for Stephanie and her procedure she's having next Tuesday, Lord. And we just pray that it goes very smoothly and that it is effective. And so she doesn't have to have any further treatment after that. And Lord, we just thank you that you are the ultimate healer. And we know that you can do that. And we thank you for that. And we thank you for Terry's trip that she took in at the end of June. And we thank you that that was good for her. And we thank you brought her home safely. And Lord, just please be with all the ladies in our unit. There's always things going on, always things. And Lord, I just pray that you be with them all and just thank you for who you are. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Man.
Oh, there's Miss Cheryl right there. Okay. Hey, we got a full screen.
Yeah, we do.
Yay! Hey, Cheryl. So, tonight we'll do some stuff at the beginning here, and then I am doing the book thing tonight, which I told people last week you can buy it on Audible or you can buy the book. We're going to be going through this probably for several months because we only touch on it one time a month. But this book is broken out a lot easier, and then I'm going to let you know ahead of time what chapters so that if you are doing it on your own, you can kind of already be ahead of me maybe. And so it'll be a little bit easier for you to keep up with what's going on with the book. So Atomic Habits is what it's called. I think we're all in a place in our life where we might be able to do better with habits. And, or one habit or two habits or something like that. So I think it'll be good. But first of all, let's talk about sales. I know Debbie texted me her sales. Cheryl, do you know if you had any sale, like what your total sales were or anything this week? I know you've been facial foundation matching and booking. If you have any, let me know. But Debbie for sure had $110. So thanks for turning that in, Debbie. And you were even on vacation. So good for you. Does anyone else have any other sales they want to turn in? Okay. I added mine up because I was thinking, I don't know, I had mostly just reorders this week. But I had $780 in sales, which I was really grateful for. So I was like, and you know what some of mine is, and some of it that I had today, I always send a thing out at the beginning of the month. And I do have a lot of customers. Some don't buy all the time, some are regular, but I always send out a thing at the beginning of the month that they get 15% off in the month of their birthday. If it's their birthday month, then I send that out. And so I had two people order today because they're like, "Oh, it's getting ready, it's getting close to the end of the month and I want to order and get my birthday discount." So sometimes that is helpful for me to get in some last minute sales the last part of the week. So anyway, I was grateful. I didn't realize it was that much. I was grateful. I was like, I needed it to be that much. So it's why you should check it every day. But I mean, I knew I'd been doing some deliveries and stuff. So, and since I'd been gone the week before to seminar, sometimes that makes the next week a little better when I've been out of town. Does anyone want to share anything that's just been good this week, Mary Kay or otherwise, that you'd like to share with us?
I just wanted to say that I did my first foundation matching
Yes.
with after watching Lori Hoag's
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and I printed everything out, and anyway, I booked some appointments off of that. Two of mine rescheduled this week, but
Okay.
the one that did hold, I got her on the new foundations, and it was very easy. Just like, I mean, it was very easy.
Mm-hmm.
Our third try was perfect.
Mm-hmm. I think
So,
Lori Hogg's training is helpful.
yeah, I thought it was too.
I'm definitely like I had a girl here yesterday and we actually don't know what color she is yet because I think she's going to be in the deeper colors and I didn't even have samples of that deep, but and she wasn't before. She was just a bronze 100, which isn't very deep, but she's gotten darker. But we did the whole striping, Did you do it on the chest, Cheryl?
Yeah, I did it on the chest. Yeah.
It's helpful, isn't it?
Yes. Actually, I did it on her arm and her chest.
Okay. I know, which
And
is so weird because for all the years I've been in Mary Kay, I've always done it right here.
yeah, I know.
So this is a new thing, but it's interesting how it looks right here. Like you can tell pretty immediately if it's really wrong, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Yay!
good for at least to be able to, you know, get started and
Yes.
see like how easy it was.
Oh, good. Yay! Well, that's exciting. I know it's
Yay.
good to get
And
them
I
on.
only sold $40 that appointment.
Oh, well, that's okay.
So,
$40 is
hey,
$40.
a new foundation and a sponge.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And, to me, my foundation customers are definitely the ones that are going to reorder. Like
Yeah.
those are the ones
Yeah.
you're going to get reorders on. So,
Yeah.
I mean, skincare for sure, but I think people are super loyal to the foundation.
Yeah.
So, I always feel like that's great though. You're excited about that? That felt good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yay. Anybody else have anything they want to share good that happened this week? I know Debbie got to go on vacation, so that's always good. You
I,
look rested.
I
Yeah.
took my camper out
Oh, you
like the first
did?
time in like 2 years.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
so I
that's
took a
good.
long weekend and it was awesome. Very
Well, that's fun.
empowering. Yep,
Oh, good. I'm not a camper. I'm not good at that. Like,
that's okay.
I mean, I would be okay in the camper. I don't want to be in the tent. But
Hmm.
is it a camper that you like attach to your truck or whatever that you
Yeah, I
pull
pull
or
behind my Jeep.
behind your Jeep?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
that's good. I mean, I'm proud of
Been in
you.
storage for a long time and for whatever reasons,
Oh,
multiple reasons, it hadn't been out. So I'm like,
well, that's
I'm
good.
not gonna overthink this. I'm just gonna go to the campground and whatever's in the camper is in the camper and whatever I need to buy, I'll buy.
Awesome.
Or
Well,
do
that's
without.
exciting.
So yeah, so it
Well,
worked
good
out
for
really
you.
nice. Yeah.
Yay. Well, that's exciting. Well,
Hmm.
good job. We got lots of people doing vacations and camping and foundation matching and getting healthy. It's all good. So, yay. Just a reminder that tomorrow night on Janice Trude's thing is the Court of Achievers. People are going to be on there. So if you like the Court of Achievers, holiday stuff or how they do it or whatever. I did get their little thing last year and I'm not a brilliant rapper. So I liked it a lot because it did like most of the work for me. So I still have a lot of it left. So I probably would not buy a whole other big bat of stuff. But I wanted to get on just to see what they had and what they're showcasing. And they're giving away she said you could get if you had customers that you thought were interested in possibly selling, or even if you have some consultants on your team that kind of do stuff, but maybe they're not super involved, but they would want to see what the possibilities would be for them to sell at Christmas. Um, and if they're a guest, if they're a consultant, I don't think they can win the purses. But if they're a guest, they can win the purses and stuff. But she said, even people that might be interested in selling so they could see what the opportunities could be for them for Christmas, she said it would be good to have them on. But I just want to be on so I can see what their offerings are going to be. I think I have enough of stuff from last year, but I'll just gonna check and see. But it was definitely, I know Debbie bought it last year too, and I mean, it's just wrap. It just particular beautiful wraps that you just wrap the products and it fits on there. And so it looks really cool. And you could add some things if you wanted, but for those of us that Wrapping's not their thing. It worked great for me. Just needed a little tape. So, and it made all the products look good. So I was excited. So I'll see if they have anything new, but that is tomorrow night. So if you want to get on to that, it's at 8 p.m. and the Zoom ID is in our featured area on our Facebook page. And so you can get that. Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice, wasn't it, Debbie? I remember, I think you and I both got that box that just kind of had everything, and it wasn't even like super expensive for that box, but I just didn't sell all of it, so I'm not sure. But I want to see. I want to see what they have. Um, the end of the month is Monday. Oh, good, Debbie. That's good to know. The best Christmas you had. Yeah, so that's good. Um, so if you are wanting to order, so most of you guys, a lot of you guys have ordered this month, but if you're wanting to order or get any team members to order, we have until Monday to do that. And I'm still doing one $50 Visa card every month. And if you order at least 350 wholesale, then you get into that drawing. So we have a few people in that drawing already, but I'm doing that. So, okay. The other thing I wanted to share with y'all real quick, last week we talked about that I was going to create a flyer for this new opportunity that we're going to have on Sunday evenings, and it's going to be on most Sunday evenings. But let me show you the flyer. Okay, so it's a peek into pink. It's going to be 20 minutes. Now, it would be longer than 20 minutes if there is someone on there that's like really interested and they just have a lot of questions. But it is 20 minutes on Zoom at 8 p.m. on these Sunday evenings. If you get a guest on there and they have questions, I'm hoping they'll have multiple questions, but I'm going to give them a free product just for getting on and asking questions. They have to ask questions because I want to be able to. So I'm only going to talk for like 10 minutes max. And then I'm going to let them ask questions. And then they are going to get a free product from me just for doing that. And then their name is going to go into a cash drawing. And if it's your guest, your name is going to go into a cash drawing that I'll do on November 1st. So there are 6 dates. So it starts this Sunday. What I do need people to do is to text me and tell me you're going to have people on so that I'm prepared. But this is just going to be if you want help. I mean, if you want to recruit people on your own, that's great. But if you want help and you want them to at least get a little bit of information about Mary Kay, it is going to be short. We're just going to do 10 minutes and then let them ask questions. And it would only be longer, like I said, if someone wants to stay on and ask more questions. Other than that, I'm just going to make it short, and I thought that might make it easier for people to get on if they knew it wasn't going to be an hour-long thing or even a 30-minute thing. Like, truly, we're just going to do, and it could be a layer or it could be someone maybe you've already talked to and they want to ask some questions. So I'm like open to all questions. So, and the only thing I need from y'all, if you're going to have people on, just text me Sunday afternoon or, before 8 p.m. and say, hey, I'm going to have somebody on. And then all those evenings, I'm going to be available between 8 and 8:20 to do that. And so we'll just do it on my Zoom. And we're just going to kind of see if this might help us a little bit. I'm going to try to get people on myself. Because as we're talking about atomic habits, I thought in my head, I was like, I need to think of, okay, I have created some habits in my life, but what is a habit I want to do in my business? This doesn't have to be about Mary Kay. It can be for sure, but there's lots of habits we want to create in our life, right? So this can be any habit you're trying to do. This book can help with. So I think in my mind, I wanted to have what is a habit I really want to create. And one of those is actively practicing inviting people to be a part of this business because I've kind of gotten lackluster in it. And as the leader and the director, and as I know where I feel like we need to go as a unit, that's an area that I feel like I need to grow. And I think it's really easy for me to just have really good customers and sell a lot. And it would push me to change my habits a little bit. So that for me, but that may not be what your habit is. I mean, your habit may be related to health, or it may be related to something you're doing in your home, or maybe it's related to, um, it could be anything really, and that you just want to do in your life. So um, we are going to cover chapters 2 and 3. So last week we did, or the last time we talked about this, we did cover number 1. And this talked about how habits are kind of a compound interest of self-improvement. So getting 1% better every day. So I think sometimes we think we just have to go radical, just like, which I will say, Stephanie, you went radical when you decided you weren't going to smoke anymore. I mean, that was like pretty radical. Like you just decided one day and then you didn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's a hard thing to do. So this book is a little bit more about getting 1% better every day. But I guess with that, it's harder to do, maybe one less cigarette a day. I don't know how you would do that. But anyway, it for the most part, to create a habit, it is something that you have to do over time. So small changes often appear to make no difference, but they can make a huge difference over time. And I think what we do in our life is we give up too soon. And that it really can make a big difference over time. So today we're going to talk about how habits shape our identity. And I thought this was very interesting to me. And so I'll ask Terry about it in a minute too. But I thought I've made this kind of made me think about my health journey in the last, it's been over a year, like almost a year and a half. So I could say I've been on a diet, for a year and a half, or I could just say I'm a healthy person. And so there's a difference between just whatever your goal is and then like who you are, like what is your identity. So this made me think, okay, if I have a tendency to say, I've been in Mary Kay 27 years. I'm a director, so I have recruited people, right? I do have a large personal team. But I've never been like, I say this out loud. I've never been a master recruiter. Recruiting is definitely not my skill set. I say that out loud a lot. So if that's the identity I've created for myself, that's probably why I'm not a master recruiter. So, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I need to come up with whatever my identity is within whatever my goal is. So, if it's being a healthier person or and that could be a part. I'm an exerciser now. Like for years, I was not really an exerciser. Like never, like consistently. I did it sometimes radically for for 3 months, and then I didn't do it for 6 months. And then I would exercise for 3 months radically, and then I wouldn't do it for 6 months. So for the last 5 years, I probably haven't, unless I've been on vacation, I haven't gone a week without exercising at least 3 times. So I consider myself, I am an exercising person now. So, but I had to change my habit. So I know if I can do that in that way, if I can do it that way, I can do any other habit, right? So it's like how you do one thing is how you do something else. So one of the things it talks about too is how do we get ourselves to change? And I'll show you this little picture because this kind of helps. Can y'all see that okay? Okay, so there's 3 layers of behavior change. There is changing your outcomes. So like losing weight is an outcome, right? Okay. Or changing your process. And so this would be like implementing a new routine at the gym. And then the third is the identity, which was what I was talking about. So identity is just like really changing your beliefs on something so that you are becoming that other person. So the question is, how do you change? Do you start with what you want your outcome to be? That you want to be thinner or that I want to be a master recruiter or whatever? Or do I start with the outcome or do I start with identity? And I think what he's saying, and Terry, you tell me if you think he's saying it is better to go with the identity first. So like this is kind of the picture he gives. So you're either starting with your outcome and becoming that person, or you're becoming that person and so it changes your outcomes, which I feel like that's what he is saying is probably the better way to do it. So is thinking about who you are and changing your beliefs on that. So instead of saying, I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to read 5 books or whatever, you're saying, I'm a reader. I'm becoming a reader. I am a reader. Like instead of saying, I'm just going to run a marathon, I'm going to become a runner. So it's kind of changing your thought process on who you are and what you believe so that you can change that habit, whatever that is. Does that make sense so far? Hopefully. Is that what you got a little bit out of that today, Terry?
Yeah. From that perspective, of course, I don't see the diagrams and things, and I listened to both chapters. So I was trying to think back to this particular onion peeling, I guess is what they were
Yeah.
referring to. But yeah, it's a little bit confusing, I guess, on how you described it. I was trying to think of the example that he had given, and you gave good examples, like you are a reader now, not, or you're an exerciser, and that's your now your identity, and it's not that you're working toward that goal. So I think the example that he gave, which follows along with what Stephanie achieved, where they said there's 2 people standing in a group or whatever, and somebody offers a cigarette, and the first person says, well, I'm trying to give up smoking, but the other one says, no, I no longer smoke. So
Yeah.
there's
It
that
basically
difference.
just
So
says,
that's
I'm
kind
not
of
a
the difference
smoker. Yeah.
between the
Yeah.
outcome that person is, the first person is saying they're basing their habit on an outcome that I'm trying to quit smoking, versus the one who's got the identity that says I no longer smoke. So
Yes.
so yeah, you've got it.
Okay. Okay. So that's kind of a really rough, I don't want to go into too much detail, but really it's to think about it. There's 3 levels of change: your outcome change, like what are you trying to accomplish? Your process change, how are you doing it? And then your identity change, which is like who are you becoming? So really, I think all of those things do have to change with a habit. It's just a matter of if the focus is going to be on the outcome or the identity,
Right.
the actual goal, or who you're
Right.
becoming.
Right.
And then he says the most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on who you want to become. And so it's really a matter of changing who you are so that you can change that habit. So he talks about then, and we'll just move on to chapter 3, how to build better habits in 4 simple steps. And so he talked quite a bit, and I won't go into all this, but he talked about how our brains work and how he gave an example of cats. They watch these cats that they put in these cages to see how the cat would get out, if the cat could figure out how to get out. And they followed these cats and they went through all these trials, and they figured out once the cat knew that when they could push the lever and they could get out, then the next time they put them in there again, it was quicker. Like, oh, okay, so the first time it took them 160 seconds, and then it just took them 30 seconds, and then it was down to like 7 seconds once they got in there. And that's how our brains work. Like if we look at what we want and we repeat over and over, then we kind of figure it out, is basically what he's saying. So there's like a feedback loop that, we try things, we fail at it, we learn, and then we try different. So how does that work with habits? So one of the things that he says, I'm going to show this, is there's 4 areas. There's a cue that triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. And then that causes you to crave, which is the next step. Um, and that's kind of the motivational force behind whatever your habit is. And that could be different for every person. And then the third step is a response. That's the actual habit you perform, which could take form in a thought or an action. And then finally is the reward. And rewards are the end goal of every habit. So the cue is about noticing the reward. The craving is about wanting the reward. The response is about getting the reward. And then you get the reward. So um, the first purpose of rewards is to satisfy your craving. And then the second, rewards teach us which actions are worth remembering doing over and over so that we get that reward. So let's think about that in terms of like exercising, I guess. I keep using that, but I'm trying to think. So we know usually a reward for me is either the way I feel. I mean, it used to be when I was younger, it was how I looked. But now that I'm older, the reward for me would be how do I feel? You know, am I strong? Can I bring the groceries in? Can I climb upstairs? Can I lift things that I want to lift without it bothering me? I mean, like that's where I am in my life. It used to be about I want to wear a certain size jean. But now it's kind of about, so my reward in that has been a little bit different. So, how am I going to get to that? Well, it's a combination of things, right? It's a habit of eating healthy foods, and it's a habit of exercising if I want to get that reward. So the cue is, I think that I want to feel different or I want to look different, probably both. The motivation behind that or the craving to get it is because I want to have long-term health. Like I want to live longer. So I'm like craving that. And then the response would be, okay, I work out 3 times a week. I plan all my meals. I cook those meals. Those are the things I do so I can get the reward of feeling better. So is that kind of makes sense? I mean, and so basically you're going to create a loop with those 4 things. Let me go back here. Let me show you the picture of the loop. Maybe. Oh, maybe I don't have that picture. Let's see. Oh, there it is. So here's the loop. It's just over and over and over. The cue, the craving, the response, the reward. This is like your habit loop. And so he said, really, you can break these into 2 responses. So your cue and your craving is the problem phase, and then your solution is your response and your reward to that. So all behavior is driven by so that you can solve whatever the problem is that you have. So another example would be the cue is you wake up in the morning, okay? You wake up, and then your craving is you want to feel awake. You want to feel alert. And then your response is you drink a cup of coffee. And then your reward is you satisfy your craving to feel alert. You drink the coffee. That becomes associated with waking up for you. And so that's how your brain sees it. So you know that that's going to be your cycle in the morning to get you awake. That's just kind of a simple example. So he says then, if those are your 4 ways of creating a habit or, creating a habit that's going to change something about your identity and you're going to change something and you're going to get to those rewards, that there's 4 laws of behavior change. So really the whole rest of the book is about those laws, and we're going to delve into those a little bit at a time. But he explains that we're either going to create a good habit or we're going to break a bad habit. And so if you go back to cue, craving, response, and reward, if you want to create a good habit, then you need to make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. if you're wanting to break a bad habit, then you make it invisible, make it unattractive, make it difficult, and make it unsatisfying. So I was trying to think, of an example. So my daughter is trying to work out more, but she also doesn't want to pay for a really expensive gym membership. Because that's not satisfying to her. That's not a reward that she needs. So she was considering between two places, and I told her to do the one that was really close to her schools because I said, tell me which one you liked being in. Because you don't want to pick a gym that you do not like to be in, right? If that's going to encourage you to create that habit. She really liked both of them pretty equally, but one had a women's only weight room, and it was also between two or three of the schools that she teaches at, so she could actually go there during the day. I'm like, I think you should pick where you think you're going to most want to be and go, because you want to make it attractive and you want to make it easy. It was close to where she's already working. She could go there in the middle of the day between teaching. She liked it. So I feel like that's how you create a good habit. And then I was trying to think of breaking a bad habit, and I feel like my phone is a habit, just randomly checking it for Facebook or whatever. Like that totally takes so much time. So I know some people, just to make it invisible, they just take Facebook off their phone. They just get the app off the phone. And if they don't want to look at it first thing in the morning, they don't have the phone right by their bed. So you make it difficult. Like it has to be in another room. It's invisible. I don't want to have to get up and go get my phone, so that would be like making how to break a bad habit. That's how I was kind of thinking that in my head. So those are the two different ways. You're either going to create a good habit with these 4 cue, craving, response, and reward, or you're going to break a bad habit. So this is kind of like deep stuff related to, how our brain works, but I think it makes a whole lot of sense. And I think we're not all the same, but I will say for myself personally, the places where I've created habits, I've created systems. Because the other thing he talks about in these chapters is how if you don't have to think so much about everything that you're doing, because it's already just set up as a system, as a habit you've been doing forever, it goes a lot easier. I mean, there's things you do in your life every day. Maybe you get up and make your bed every day. I don't know. And if that's you, if you're someone that gets up and makes your bed every day, you don't even think about it. You just get up and make your bed. Like you don't have to plan to make your bed. You just get up and make your bed. That's what you've done forever. So I feel like places where I have created habits, as I definitely have systems. So that you don't have to get up every day and go, well, I really don't know what to do. That's what happens to us in certain things that we do. But I know I have systems when I go to work. I work out typically the same days every week. I mean, sometimes I have to be flexible, but for the most part, I work out at the same time and the same days every week. So I don't have to rethink every day, well, am I going to go work out today or am I not? There's not an option. I work out on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Those are the days I work out. And that's like an appointment for me. Like I don't change that. I always make my schedule for what I'm cooking for the whole week on the weekend. I always do it on Saturday, and I always order my groceries, and I always pick up my groceries on Sunday so that I have the food here already. And that's just a system I have. And that way I don't I forgot to go get the groceries. So I guess we'll just go out to eat. And then, well, if I have time to sit down, that's not an option. The system in my life is we plan the meals on Saturday, we order the groceries, we pick up the groceries on Sunday. That's what we do every week. So we've done that for a while. And, I used to think I had gotten out of being a reader. And I started using Goodreads, and I track all my pages. and every single year I've read more books. And it because tracking works for me. So I mean, so it's very interesting how our brains work, but and I have to say it depends on your life. Like when I had my kids at home, it was harder sometimes in some ways to have systems, like we're empty nesters now and my husband's pretty organized, so it's pretty easy, but it depends on your life. I mean, sometimes you have a full-time job. If your full-time job is 8 to 5 every day, then that's kind of a system. But if your full-time job is, well, some days you work this and some days you work this and they don't always give you the same, I mean, that is harder. That's harder to schedule all that. But I think too, with your Mary Kay business, there's systems you can put in place that you can do certain things, like I know that I have to prepare for meeting on Tuesday. So I always work on Mary Kay on Mondays so that I'm prepped for Tuesday. Like that's just the system I have. So that has helped me create habits where I don't have to use as much energy. I don't have to use as much energy to figure out what to eat every day because I already planned my meals. So I mean, I could say, gosh, I really don't feel like that. And I could switch it around a little bit, but I don't switch it around a whole lot because I've already bought all the food. And so but that has taken where I don't have to use so much energy, because I already just have that system in place. So what I'd like to do is I do that a little bit with Mary Kay, like, every first of the month I send out the birthday texts but there are other areas in my business I could do better. So I want to be able to create more habits like that. So I don't know. Does anyone else have examples of habits they've created that have worked well for them that they could see themselves maybe doing another habit like that?
So I can tell you with my back,
Yes.
over time, because that was horrific trying to figure out what to do right and what was going wrong and for a long time. And it finally just took to a point where I had to set up a system of these are the times of day where I'm taking a particular medication and then I have to make sure I'm eating with that particular medication. And then as I was starting to get away from the medications, I also had to establish setting alarms for how long have I sat, how long have I stood, how long have I walked around, and just keep repeating those kind of processes so that I wasn't doing any one thing for too long because that would be a trigger. But it took a long time to establish those habits. And the one that continues for me is still, I know I need to be up, at least my alarm needs to go off 2 hours before I'm ready to go out the door in the morning. I may not be doing that whole time of stretching and prepping for the day or whatever, but it's just, that's what works for me is that, because people are like, oh my God, you're doing what for 2 hours? Well, it works because then that way I'm not rushing out the door and I'm not taking my lunch to work, or I'm skipping my stretching, or I'm skipping my prayer time, or I'm skipping something. But that also, forces me to make my bed so that I can do my stretches on my bed. But as I progress and have a different chiropractor, he's giving me different stretches or different techniques. And now it's like, oh, this is like new habits I need to add into my routine. And it's a struggle because I forget, because I'm so used to my routines now that they just kind of flow. And I was like, oh crud, that was the main one he told me that would be helping me right now to go to the next level of recovery. So yeah, definitely, you get into that habit, and the same thing at night. I know I need to be settled down and by a certain time if I'm going to get a decent night's sleep to get all my routine in. Again, so it's not like I'm dressing for work, but still just getting ready for bed. It's a little shorter time period in the evenings, but still I do my stretches and I still do what I need to do. So that would be my example of setting those
No, that's
habits, and
good because
they were hard to
that's
come
kind
by.
of what he's saying. Like that was a problem you had to solve because your cue was you didn't want your back to hurt.
Right. Right.
And
And
your
that's,
motivation
yeah,
was, I'm going to figure this out, you know?
yeah. And every morning, the cue is I'm stiff.
Uh-huh.
So that you crave doing those stretches because the reward at the end is that you're ready to get up and start moving around more and you're more comfortable with it than
Hmm.
potentially just laying there longer and longer. Because that's my thing is I'll lay there and I know better that my back will
Hmm.
quit hurting if I would just get up. Or
Yeah.
I've laid around too long or I've sat around too long or whatever the case may be. So those are my physical cues that continue.
Hmm. That's good though. I'm glad you've made progress with that.
Oh yeah.
That's a really good example. Since you listened to the audio today of these chapters, was there anything that you can recall that you just really got out of it that I didn't bring out?
Um, I think the key to the actual behavior changes, either trying to create a new habit or a good habit or getting rid of a bad habit. Um, a really bad habit that I have is caffeine early in the morning, and I had that broken for a long time, and I don't know why it's snuck back in. But it seems like earlier in the morning, like I'm craving that caffeine, and um, so I'm thinking about that it's like, okay, the first step is I've got to get the drinks that I like out of this
Hmm.
house. And the same thing with the sugar fix or whatever, that you know make it invisible, so, and then make it
Hmm.
harder, so, and make it unattractive. Well, I know for me, for caffeine, it's bothering me. My systems are being bothered by that amount of caffeine, and it's time to just um so that's the unattractiveness of it. Um and making it difficult would be is like, if I really want it, I need to go buy it. So while I was camping, I tried really hard not to take my favorite caffeinated beverages with me, because they're a specialized tea or whatever. And I didn't. But then, of course, then I went to the convenience stores and got a Diet Dew or something because I knew that would be
Yeah.
my next, fix for it. But and just making it unsatisfying is that, once I have that caffeinated drink in the morning, it's just like, this is just stupid because now I feel miserable and I'm going to feel miserable all day. And I started Weight Watchers, and even that, the drink that I'm drinking is like 4 points to start my day off. Well, there there goes 4 points, literally down the drain.
I
So
guess the motivation there is, do I want to eat or do I want to drink? You know,
right,
like,
right, right,
you know.
right. So those would be my real life examples that
Hmm.
I'm working with, and that I was thinking about as I was listening to the chapters today.
Yeah.
How to make small habit changes, and I keep thinking about the days when we did the hard challenges, where it was just small things. It was in 5
Hmm.
different areas. So many of us were doing drink 8 ounces of water before I drink anything else, or 5 minutes of reading, or 5 minutes of decluttering, or 5 minutes of prayer, or just whatever kind of
Hmm.
things that so that's why I'm trying to focus on, well, at least drink some water in the morning instead of craving that caffeinated beverage, and
Hmm.
think about how much healthier and much better maybe I'll feel going into
I'm
work
thinking,
on
even when
that.
you were saying the 5 minutes of those things, made me think too of the first chapter when he's saying, just even doing 1% better
Hmm.
over consistently over time, just not
Right,
stopping, makes a really big difference.
right.
And so, um, you know what I do? It takes a minute for my coffee to make, so I make myself drink water while the coffee is making.
Nice.
So I like chug water while the coffee is
Hmm.
brewing
Hmm.
because I'm like, okay, well, I'm just standing here. I'm just gonna chug water so I can get my water in before I
Hmm.
have my coffee.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's what, not everybody's brain works the same, and
Hmm.
we don't all have the same goals, but I think this is a good practice for any of us for whatever it is you want to change. It could be in your personal life, it could be in your business. But I do think having something in mind of a habit you want to work on would be good as we go through this book so that you can see if you can figure out ways to solve the problem and change the habit. So I think that would be good. And, it is harder to just listen to me talk about it. I think it is if you're willing to get the book, I think it would be helpful, either on audio or hard copy, just so that you can even grasp more from it than just what we're talking about every month. But anyway, thank you for your input too, Terry, because it's kind of helpful to get somebody else. Does anyone else have anything to say about habits or anything like that? Okay, well,
I can tell you one
uh,
thing,
yeah.
Angela, too, that I was intimidated by the title of the
Oh,
atomic, because I
yeah.
thought that that meant like huge habits. And I think Laura or somebody talked about it or used somebody along the way has talked about atomic habits before. And it's just the total opposite. That's how it starts off, is really about it just being the tiniest thing in the world is an atom. And then it makes up
Oh, yeah.
molecules, and so it's that type of atomic. It's not like an atomic bomb like I was thinking of,
Yeah.
where it's
That's a
lots
good
and lots of
point.
atoms. So if
Yeah.
you just get past the title, that was my most surprising thing, I think, with starting the book today, was that it's about little tiny atoms, not an atomic bomb.
Good point. Yes. Yes. That's a very good point. Thank you for bringing that out.
Mhm.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that? So we're kind of at the end of the meeting, but one of the things that we did last week when it was just Cheryl and Dawn and I, we kind of just let the end of the meeting be if you just have any questions at all about anything, Mary Kay, or anything you wanted to that you just wanted to ask about or chat about in relation to anything, we're going to take the last few minutes to do that of a meeting just because that gave Cheryl some time last week to ask some questions. And does anybody have any questions about anything? Um, Yes, Debbie. Yeah, make sure you,
Undo,
yeah, there you
undo
go.
the audio. I have a man that is extremely, extremely oil, and I gave him the little set, the Go set, and it didn't do anything. So that's why I was calling Jody, was to see what all the stuff that she uses. And I told him that I would give him the set. I know him good, and that I would give him a set of something to try. And if he didn't want to buy it, he could, give it back, or that he could buy whatever he wanted. And I don't know exactly, I've
Did
never
you,
had anybody with that oily of skin. It's super oily, and I didn't know what to start out with. I just thought, like, do we, besides the, uh, not creamy cleanser, the number
did you give
three?
him the go set of the Mary Kay skincare line or
Yeah.
the,
Oh,
okay,
for oil, for
the
like,
combination to oily Mary Kay skincare line?
yeah.
Um, yes, I mean, that is good for oily skin. Sometimes you could like mix it with maybe some of the clear proof, because the clear proof moisturizer could be better for him. I mean, it could be that, or it could be the combination to oily Mary Kay skincare line. The unfortunate thing is we don't have the oil mattifier anymore, which I think was really helpful. But the recommendation was that oil um, combination to oily moisturizer in the Mary Kay skincare line. Um, but you could have him try the clear proof too, because that does help with oil. Um, so I would say one or the
Is
other
that
of
the,
those. But
is that
he,
the, cleanser, the, what do you call it? Not creamy cleanser, the number three cleanser.
well, the Mary Kay skincare line is the combination to oily is probably similar to what we used to have, like the number three. I think you're thinking about the old
Oh,
skincare
Diane,
line.
yeah.
Yeah. The Mary Kay skincare line for combo to oily is probably the most like that. But um sometimes like the cleanser from the Clear Proof line and the moisturizer from the Clear Proof line might be okay for him too. Like you could compare those with him and see. Cheryl, do you have any thoughts on that?
I was just gonna say Jerry has really oily skin and he uses the Clear Proof.
Okay.
Everything on the Clear Proof? Pretty well.
He might
Yeah,
not, I mean,
nice
if he
stuff.
doesn't have acne, he might not need the acne treatment gel,
He
you
doesn't
know?
have acne, he has pits in his skin.
Okay. Then the other thing I would do, well, see if you can get him to use the Clear Proof cleanser and moisturizer for sure, and probably the toner. Cheryl, does your husband use a toner?
Yes, he uses
Okay.
that a lot.
Okay. So I would say the Clear Proof cleanser, the Clear Proof toner, and the Clear Proof moisturizer. Try that. And then if he starts liking that, if he doesn't, if he wants to get rid of the pits, then you could add microdermabrasion refine to his routine,
That's
and
true. And
that would help the pits over time. But I would start with the Clear Proof
I
cleanser.
don't think the charcoal mask would do it.
Charcoal mask would be good too. Charcoal mask would be good too. I mean, that will help with oil, and that'll deep clean his skin. But for the actual roughness of his skin from the texture, I would say you'd have to do microdermabrasion or facial peel. But
Mostly
I
he's
would start
mostly he's
off
concerned
with
about the oil right now.
yeah, if he's mostly concerned about oil, then I would do what Cheryl said, and I would do Clear Proof cleanser, Clear Proof toner, and Clear Proof moisturizer. Because for some people, that's going to control oil a little bit more than the Mary Kay. The Mary Kay skincare line is supposed to, but it just kind of depends. But maybe that toner would really help clean up to, get rid of some of the oil. So you could try that
Okay.
and go with that first. And then you could always add charcoal mask. I mean, that's not going to hurt anything. And if he did that a couple times a week, that would help with the oil too. And then, but if he really wants to change the texture, I would say microdermabrasion or facial peel. But if he's mostly concerned about oil, I would go with Clear Proof to begin with.
Okay.
Does
Yeah,
that
that's
help?
mostly, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else, Cheryl, that your husband uses that you think she should
No, I
offer?
was just gonna say that if the Clear Proof would be too much for his skin,
I don't know.
could
He's really
always
oily.
he could always do the mattifying and then the Clear Proof toner.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah, like do the cleanser and the moisturizer from the mattifying line, but use the Clear Proof toner.
He says he's
Yeah,
never
but
ever had anything that remotely helped it.
yeah, the
Okay.
Clear Proof is what Jerry uses the
Okay. I'll
he
do
doesn't
that.
use the moisturizer. He just uses he should, but he won't.
Yeah,
He
okay.
just uses the cleansing gel and the toner.
But the
Yeah.
moisturizer, for that Proof moisturizer, that pretty well is to take out oil, isn't it?
I mean, it will hydrate their skin without adding any oil at all because it doesn't have any oil in it. So it would probably be, of all the moisturizers we have, the least one that feels like a moisturizer. Because probably why Jerry doesn't like to, people with oily skin don't like to use moisturizer.
Right,
So, but I think it would be helpful because sometimes if your skin isn't hydrated enough, even when you're oily, it creates more oil because you're not hydrating it enough.
Oh, I
You
did
just
not
need to
realize
have the
that.
right hydration. Yeah, because your
Okay.
skin's dehydrated.
Well, I'll have him try that.
Yeah, I was wondering what he uses now, why his skin is so oily. If he uses
He's
like
not using anything.
he doesn't use like his bar soap in the shower on his face.
I guess he just uses soap, but he said he's never come across anything that works, so he doesn't really use anything special.
Once he uses good skincare, he may find that he's not that oily.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Okay.
bar soap will like make your skin so oily.
Oh, I thought bar soap would make your skin drier.
Well, it does, which in turn makes it super
Produce
oily.
more oil.
Because
Later, yeah,
your
I
skin's trying to
gotcha.
overcompensate for it being stripped.
Mhm.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes people with oily skin overstrip their skin, don't moisturize, and then their skin creates more oil.
Alrighty. Thank you.
It's kind of a common thing. Anything else anybody has questions on or comments or anything?
Nope.
Okay. If next, don't forget tomorrow night is the thing with Court of Achievers, if you're interested in that. We will have meeting next Tuesday and it'll be related to whatever comes out from the company. Those of y'all that went to seminar saw the new products, but I will show all the new products. I can order them tomorrow, but I got most of them in my buzz kit. So I'll show the new Christmas products, the new lookbook next week, and anything else the company comes out with on the 1st. We are expecting them. They did tell us at seminar they're going to have a new marketing campaign and they said it was supposed to come out in the fall. I was hoping they were going to give us more details. I don't know if they're going to give it on the 1st, but we'll see what they're going to do. So that's what our meeting will be about next week. And then this Sunday is the first Sunday of the Peek into Pink. So if anybody has anyone they want just to get them into the drawing and let them ask questions, just give me a text on Sunday and say, I'm going to have people on. And we will have our little 20-minute call. Okay?
Okay. Thanks.
All right. And Stephanie will be thinking of you on Tuesday,
will.
next Tuesday for sure. And thank you
I
guys
will.
all for being on. And thanks, Terry, for your comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And you guys have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.